Hello, I'm George Caylor, and now you're on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Before we talk with our guest Larry Taylor, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Tea Time, brought to you by Ideal Comfort, a combined experience of 40 years in providing the highest and most comfortable air quality. Ideal Comfort can also repair most appliances. Go to idealcomfortva.com. Larry Taylor's been a friend of mine for years, and I've admired him, well, to no end. And I think you just got off a project right now today, didn't you, Larry? What are you doing?
I'm restoring the bathroom and doing some painting.
And I see he came to this interview with his working uniform, and I mean my working uniform
That's
too.
right. That's right.
Larry's truly a working man. And the reason I want to talk to Larry today, he's running for city council in Lynchburg, Virginia, in Ward 2. And actually, our city council is kind of a microcosm of America. And you'll know in a few minutes why it's vitally important that we elect a man like Larry Taylor to city council, not just for the people of Ward 2, who will be better represented, but I mean to everybody who hears this podcast. I would very much like you to go to Larry for Lynchburg. Is that it? Larry for Lynchburg?
Larry for Lynchburg.
.com? .com. And you can find out more about Larry there, and you can contribute to his campaign. And Larry, why are you running for city council as if you don't have enough peas on your knife already? I mean, you're a busy man, but why is it important for you to be on city council?
I believe I can make a difference for the people in Ward 2. They need strong representation.
Are they not getting it now?
According to the people in Ward 2, they are not being represented properly downtown.
So Mr. Wilder is, to me, and as an outsider, I'm not on city council and I don't live in Ward 2, but he seems to be a rubber stamp for what the rest of city council wants him to do. Is that how the people in Ward 2 perceive him?
On my journeys through Ward 2, I come across people that say broken promises. They will make promises. It's just like what the Democrats been doing to the black people for years. You can have this, but you can't reach it.
You know, this is going to sound awful, but I heard a white person say, and he's a Democrat, he said, that's how we keep them on the plantation. That means the plantation of expectation, but never quite
You never reach it.
Like, you want to bring to an end to that in the city of Lynchburg.
We want promises kept.
You live in Ward 2.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know much about the problems in Ward 2 then? I mean, for instance, I believe you're on an advisory board for the Lynchburg Police, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
What is there a crime problem in Ward 2 that isn't being resolved, or what's happening there?
We still have gangs in Ward 2. It was reported to me we have even prostitution. People in one neighborhood reported to me that they saw a woman and a man having sex on the porch in daylight.
Hopefully it was a screened-in porch with real dark screens. No?
Open.
Oh, that's bad.
Open.
That place has been beat with an ugly stick.
Right up around Taylor Street, 14th Street area there.
Oh, my goodness.
And we still have a gang problem in Lynchburg.
What about that $10 million sidewalk that's being built? I think it's built on behalf of your folks. Is that what you would have voted for, $10 million for a sidewalk, or would have you had any better ideas than that?
I'm a construction worker. It doesn't take $10 million to build a sidewalk, 3/4 of a mile sidewalk. And I believe if it was negotiated right with the railroad, it seems to be the concern with the truss at the bottom of the Florida Avenue there. If we had negotiated with the railroad a little bit better, we would have got a far better deal. They would have helped us. And it wouldn't cost $12 million.
Well, if you wouldn't have spent your money on that, what would the money go towards? I mean, if you were on city council.
they need rides in and out of the Greenfield apartment complex there and Jubilee Heights area there. We could spend, I know, a couple of $100,000 or less a year with a privatized bus system coming in and out of there. You have a bus that's coming in and out all day long, and what, $30,000-$40,000 a year, you can have yourself a driver or two, and it will not cost you $12 million in 10 years.
Seems like 12 million or whatever it is would go a long ways towards that. What else is needed in the city that, especially in Ward 2, that you'd be for that wouldn't cost all that 12 million?
I understand we put $250,000 in a grocery store downtown.
Yeah.
It didn't last. Whereas you could take $250,000, put it in a shell building with electricity, heat, concrete floors, with some welders, with some saws, with some sheetrock tools, and a couple of instructors. See, we need to increase the labor force here in Lynchburg. You got a lot of young men walking around, and I believe that will help with the gang problem too, because we give them skill. We teach these guys skill, plumbing, electrical. Put a nice vocational school right in the heart of downtown. Well, you can't say downtown Lynchburg, but in the area where people from James Crossing and the rest of the place be able to have access to, where they can go in and learn skills.
Yeah, skills. You and I are part of a different generation. I was raised, at my father's knee, learning construction.
Yes.
We had to have it on the farm to survive. But
that's right.
I guess these young boys aren't being taught the things they're going to need to survive in the real world.
We need skills. We have people coming in, whereas we built America. Now we have other people building America because we lack skill. We don't have the skills necessary to perform the jobs or the desire to perform the jobs that we used to do. And it needs to stop. We need to say, we're not going to give you nothing until you learn this trade.
I mentioned a minute ago to y'all out there that Lynchburg is a microcosm of what's going on elsewhere. And I think Larry here just hit on a fabulous idea for solving gang problems and the hopelessness that we see in the eyes of young black men especially, that what does the future hold? Well, it'll hold a whole lot more if we have guys like Larry serving that will teach these kids, and we'll have programs that will teach these kids skills. I was so mad at City Council last month. 1,400 of us showed up asking City Council to support Lynchburg being a sanctuary, a Second Amendment sanctuary city. Now, if you look at the map of Virginia, almost everywhere is sanctuary territory because they do not want our Second Amendment constitutional rights to be violated. And yet City Council voted against the Lynchburg citizens being able to exercise their constitutional rights without infringement.
That's right.
That's constitutional. But you being African American, how does that affect if people can't get firearms to defend themselves? Is there any history of that with the black race? I mean,
well, after the Civil War, I believe it to be understood that the NRA was partially formed to arm black men to be able to protect their families against the KKK. That was one of the reasons, to my understanding, that the NRA was formed.
I've talked to a few of them, and they said that's exactly why it was formed. But why would our city council, there's black members of our city council who voted against you having the right to defend your own family and property. Why would they vote that way, or are they just ignorant of the history of this thing?
They been brainwashed. they are weak in thought. I'm sorry to say that, but that they it takes a man to own a firearm and to be able to handle it properly. So if you're not a true man, you're not gonna have a desire to have a firearm or anything else to protect your family. I live in White Rock Hill. 2 o'clock in the morning one morning, I heard somebody come across my porch and ring my doorbell. You have no business at my house 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'll stop visiting at that time then.
Right. I stood at the top of the step, huh? And ratcheted my pistol.
Uh-huh.
And it went away.
I think I would have headed off that porch as well, knowing there's somebody there that would actually defend himself and
That's it.
and could do whatever. Without that, he could do whatever he wanted for the next 15 minutes until the police got there.
That's
By
right.
that time, a lot of damage could be done. You know, you said it takes a man. I think it takes a responsible person, but I was teaching my 9-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
who's English granddaughter, Catherine, how the safety and the handling of a pistol, and she was hitting the target every time. And she learned safety, but she learned it from a true man.
Yes.
And would you favor having safety courses and so on for young black men to learn safety and the proper use of firearms?
I taught my son how to shoot early. I raised a man.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that he would be able to care for his own.
He could take care of his family.
Yeah, that's the way things used to be.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, you've walked the streets of Ward 2 a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of Mr. Walter out there actually walking the streets trying to find out what's going on with the people there. And what are the main things the people in Ward 2 are telling you? What do they want from you if you're on city council?
They want to be heard. They want their voices to be heard. They don't want broken promises. They get tired of seeing all the money going downtown and not back into the wards. The ward.
Mm.
Downtown is in Ward 2. But it's just like it's a separate entity altogether. You're constantly building that area, but there's nothing going back into communities.
Hardly anybody lives downtown, that they would be affected like the folks where you live.
Mm-hmm. And trash. We have trash all over the place. Ward 2 is trashy. People dump whenever they please. It's a public safety issue. You have children running out in the street after basketball because we don't have a park right on Main Street. This group of children have a basketball court set up there. I was out there the other day getting my petition signed. I actually tried to slow this car down because I saw the kid with the ball getting ready to run across the street. Because it's not a park there. Now, what we've done through No Walls Ministries, we bought some property, we tore the house down, and we're going to put a park there.
Oh, wow.
No cost to the city of Lynchburg.
Let me ask you one final question. I've known you as more than a friend over the years. I've known you as a brother in Christ. How would your walk with Jesus affect your service to the city when you're on city council? How would that affect you?
A whole lot. Because if I can't glorify the Lord with it, I don't want to do it.
So whatever you do is going to bring glory to God for the success you bring to the people there?
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, let me just recap. Larry Taylor here. LarryForLynchburg.com. Go to his website. Contribute to his campaign. And for heaven's sakes, if you have a friend in Ward 2, Lynchburg, get them out to vote and to vote for Larry Taylor, because otherwise it's the same old, same old. Larry, thank you so much
Thank
for
you, Brother George.
coming on the podcast.
Praise God. Thank you.
God bless you, Larry.
God bless you.